Okay, so what were we talking about? Anger management. Yeah, me managing my overthinking and like trying to understand my boyfriend's head, which is impossible for me. So I just have to learn how to accept his truth and his vision, which is like fucked up in my opinion, basically. Yeah, like I just don't get it, but I think that's one of those things you could never understand. It was the same, like for example with chargers. He was leaving like chargers in the kitchen and it was pissing me off, right? And I like every time I was just putting it into like a cupboard or something like this, and I asked him about it, can you just not leave the chargers like here? And you know, the next day, guess what, like the charger was on the kitchen counter. And I was like, again, like, you know, like does it not like cross your mind that, you know, like, again, it's a stupid charger, but when you've got the charger, the shampoo, the music, the parties, like all of these things, then it's like a, you know, like, yeah, the snowball, you know, is rolling. And it's just too many like of those like shitty little thingies that, you know, are just like pissing you off. But I think I'm good, you know, after the shampoo and music situation. I think my mindset is still like good. I'm still in the happy mood. I think I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. It's still kind of like when I woke up, I instantly went in my head, I went to this like, you know, like conversation between us, because that's what my brain does. I just always like, when it comes to these like situations, I'm always like, you know, I should tell him this and this and this and this, and in my head I see the two of us like arguing about this, and I was like, no, just stop it. Because you can like fuck up your day right from the start if you start with like these like negative thoughts. Because like, yeah, and there is no point in doing it like anyway. And I remember like, you know, some time ago I could spend the whole day by doing these things. And also like when I was in my happy mood with him, I would do this like with my mum. I would start in my head, I would start the argument with my mum. If it was okay with him and with my mum, I would start an argument with Dennis and his girlfriend. And I was like constantly having these like arguments in my head, and that's not healthy. That's not really good. Like, yeah, first of all, it's not going to change anything because you are not really talking to them. It's going to put you in a shit mood, and then when you are in the shit mood and another little thing like happens, then you are like, you know, it's like, I don't want to be doing that like ever again. Like I need to like acknowledge it and like stop it immediately. And I think I'm quite good at that. Like it requires a lot of practicing a lot of practicing, because it's a quite like challenging thing, so you have to distract yourself a lot. But I think it's getting better, and I can keep my happy mood. Yeah, okay, never mind, moving on.
And I just wanted to go for a cigarette or just leave, and he came and he was like, he started like dressing up as well. So I still don't know like where he was going, and then he was like, where are you going? And I was like, just for a cigarette or I'm leaving. And he was like, yeah, so are you leaving or not, or should we go for a trip or something? And when I was like crying, he was like, are you hungry? And like those like normal questions, like, you know, nothing was happening, like completely ignoring the fact.
Yeah, that was the thing, that, you know, every time I got angry, he just tried to ignore it and like make fun of the situation and just like move on, let's say. But I liked being in the shitland. I was enjoying my angry mood or whatever. I was not like willing to leave the conversation. I also had the feeling that we never like sorted things out, because the fact that he said, you know, like, I didn't do things on purpose, or I do like you, or I want you to be here, or whatever like that. I didn't believe him. So for him it was probably like sorted, but for me it was not. So when he started with these like questions of like, you know, what would you like for dinner, or shall we go for a trip or something like this, I was like, how could you? How could you just ignore the fact? Because I was still like angry inside, but for him it's like very easy to let it go, but for me it was impossible to let it go. So it was actually like pissing me off as well, the fact that, you know, he can get into this happy mood like so instantly, and I was dwelling, you know, in the shit land, and I was like swimming in it, and I was like, oh my god, like, yeah, how horrible it is. So that's another thing that I want to learn, and that is just let go of those things. Like, learn to believe him, you know, like when he says, you know, like, I didn't mean to do that, or it was not intentional. Although it doesn't make sense in my head, I want to ignore my head and just believe him and just move on with him and just like ignore it. That's my mission. Like nowadays, yeah. And to be honest, like after the argument, he actually always like came up with some like, shall we go for a spa, shall we go for a trip, shall we go for a walk, because all of these things like make me happy. So I think he was trying to like make it up to me. Like, he didn't say that, but it was like really like obvious that he was just trying to like, yeah, there was an issue, you know, but now I want to like make it up to you. And he like tried to make something nice like for me. And if he was like really not giving shit about me, I think it would be impossible for him to stay in a relationship like this, because I was a bitch. I was annoying, I was grumpy, I was not talking nice to him. So I think he must really like me in order to stay in this like relationship. And I was quite shocked actually when he came back to me, because I was thinking like, have you not had enough? Do you know, like there must be a reason why he like wants to be with me. I hope it's love. Because I think if he genuinely didn't give a fuck, he would not be going through this. Do you know? Because it takes a strong personality to be like dealing with, you know, like a person like this who gets like upset for like stupid reasons. Because I think nobody likes arguing, and he doesn't like arguing either. So I think he must really care about me. You know, because otherwise like normal person would be like, you know, if I don't give a fuck about a person and they keep, you know, like accusing me of something, or they're constantly in a shit mood, I would be like, just go, leave and never come back. But just because, and I think he's got the same approach as well. So the fact that he is coming back to me and he wants to like make things up to me, to me, whatever, it's a sign that he is actually like, there are some emotions in there. Right? Because like, why would you do this to yourself? Otherwise, yeah, don't know.
Very interesting.
Very interesting, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
I went for a toilet, I think, and when I was coming back, he was like, so do you want to go home or somewhere? I was like, if I go home, we won't see each other again. And he was like, yeah. I don't know what the fuck. And then I was like, I'm crying because I really do care. And he was like, I want to be with you. And then we kissed and we went to Maximus, to the wellness. He brought me wine to a car, which was very like attentive. And we went there and he was like holding my leg quite a lot and stroking me and stuff. And in the sauna, he even like, we got to the moment where I was like scratching his hand. We were lying on our bellies, like facing each other. And then as he like held my hand and he started scratching me as well, it was like the moment, you know, that I thought, like I always have to keep like touching with my palms. And it felt like in that moment he felt the need to do that too, which is kind of, you know, it's affectionate, it's lovely.
Yeah, that's the thing, that he was never really affectionate person when it comes to like kissing, hugging, holding hands. It was basically me like a leash on him, leash, you know. And he was never a fan of that, and it took like a year for him to like hold me or like come for a kiss like by himself, right? Because he was never, I think it's something to do with his parents, because they are not really affectionate either. They're actually not talking like really nicely to each other and stuff. So I think he has never had this like so much affection. So I'm actually like teaching him this, and I'm doing quite good at it, to be honest, because nowadays, like, you know, he comes for a cuddle and, you know, he knows that I would need him like right next to me. So he knows that. And like, when was this taken actually? I can't see the date of this, but you know, it was like 2021, I believe. So that was like, we started in 2018. So like still like he would like touch me, but it was not like, you know, he would like be stroking my back or like stroking my arm or something. So when that happened, that was like a big moment for me, because this is how I, you know, share love. This is my love language, you know. If I like you, I'm gonna be touching you, you know. And that's in those moments, actually, it crosses my mind like, I like you so much. That's why I cuddle my doggy, you know, like so much and stuff. So for him to do that, it was like a big moment for me. Maybe it didn't mean the same thing, you know, because like everybody speaks a different language when it comes to love. So maybe like it was not the same, but in my head it means the same. So like every time, you know, like when like he comes for a kiss, I'm like, oh my god, he likes me and whatever. But it could be like, you know, you could fake it as well. So it's just, you know, like in my head and how I see the world. But in his head it could be completely different, you know. So it's just a perspective, you know, like, you know, because you see the world according to you and your mindset and what you think and how you see the world and how you react. So just because people do the same thing, it doesn't mean they have the same intention behind that, you know. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
So then the day after, when I came, because I was not supposed to come, because it was my birthday, right? Yeah. So I had the morning shift on Thursday, and after that I wanted to see my mom, and he had an ice hockey match. So I was like, okay, so you go there, and then I'm gonna visit my mom, and I'm gonna go after. But then after work I went automatically to the car, so then I sent him a message, okay, well I'm coming, because like I'm already at the car. And then I got there, and he was like, you came? You know, no emotion at all, like sort of like happiness or whatever. So it was like, yeah, I sent you a message, he hadn't read it, whatever. And then we went for the ice hockey match, did we? No, it was the ice hockey match, yeah. I can't remember exactly, it's just this is such awful, I don't know, situation, I don't know. Then it was my birthday, I got alcohol, like the pina colada. He bought me pineapple and raw coconut and a shaker that he wanted, then a voucher to the Aqualand that he wanted, so not very thoughtful. Like, I'm happy with that.
I remember that, yeah, because basically it was my birthday. I remember he gave it to me in his parents' house. Yeah, at that time it was like the house was in a, like it was the like building process, so we were kind of like living, you know, down there. And yeah, for my birthday basically he went shopping, and then he got back and he got me like a pineapple and rum and like coconut milk and like things for pina colada and like a shaker that he was talking about that he wanted. Because he was always like, I would like to buy this like silvery, you know, like shaker for the cocktails, like it would be really, really cool. So as I opened the bag, I was like, oh, this is the shaker that you wanted, lovely. And also he mentioned that he would like to go to Aqualand, or actually like Dennis's girlfriend, she mentioned it that she would like to go there. So I got the tickets for that. So I was thinking like, oh yeah, nice, like you got, you know, like things for yourself basically, but thanks for the pineapple. And I got grumpy because of that, because I was thinking like, why are you giving me like gifts that, you know, are for you and like are not for me? Like they are for me, like I love those things as well and whatever, but in my head, you know, because I was in the shitland, I didn't appreciate it at all. I was thinking like, oh yeah, you got like, you know, a thingy for yourself and a thingy that you can do with your friends, lovely, and where am I in this, you know, equation, kind of. Yeah, so that was a lovely moment, yeah. But that's, yeah, like I don't know, maybe I told you about the pressure cooker. I think I said that in one of those videos when he gave me the pressure cooker that he wanted like for himself and stuff like this. Again, it's a silly thing, but just because I do like to give like very personalized presents to somebody, like it just, again, in my head it doesn't make sense, and it's like kind of like a, you know, I don't give a fuck, I'm just gonna buy something, and yeah, there is one thing that I would like, so I'm gonna give it to her. So I didn't like appreciate that present, as much. Now I would, like now I don't mind. It's just nice that, you know, he remembered, but at that time I was thinking like, you are just thinking about yourself again. Oh my lord.
I like alcohol is what I need, otherwise I will not be able to survive.
Eh? What did you say? Alcohol is your need and you wouldn't be able to survive. Oh yeah, at that time like I was drinking a lot. Yeah, that was the time where, yeah, pretty much like every weekend, and I had a glass of wine. Or was I drinking like wine at that time? Yeah, definitely, like pretty much a glass of wine every evening. Yeah, happy times. And this is actually not like helping your mood either. If you drink alcohol, you've got shit sleep because your sleep is not as deep. That means you are grumpy, you are in a shit mood. So like, I was not helping myself with that, to be honest, because I was not like hangover, but you know, even when you have a 1 glass or 2 glasses of wine, like your sleep is gonna get affected, your memory is gonna get affected, your mood is gonna get affected, and like it's like you are not helping the situation. In case you feel like a piece of shit, like this is definitely not gonna help. No.
Well, he didn't put much thought into it. And then on the 21st, I had the afternoon shift. So in the morning, he wanted to go to the, I don't know how to call it, like the place where they get clothes for the army, like the army shop or whatever.
No.
So he really needed to go there, so he didn't make a thank you. He asked me, actually, and I was like, not sure. So then he left, and yeah, I went home. I got a beautiful cake from my mom. Then I went to work. After work I came. And yeah, like, I don't know, I still don't know how to feel about that. Genuinely in a quandary, like a big one, like seriously. Next time this happens, I seriously offend it, because like, never ending story, is it? And then guess who appeared at the reception? Like the moment I was like, so like that was on Wednesday when I was like certain that I would end it. Bruno came, of course. Yeah, beautiful. What a coincidence, isn't it? He always comes when I...
Yeah, that's the, like, I call him Bruno. This is the guy who was like at the reception. I mentioned him before as well. It was a guy who used to go to the gym pretty much like every Wednesday and Saturday, Sunday or whatever, and we occasionally were chatting at the reception. We had a lot of like deep talks, and that's the one who is like overly sensitive. I talked about him, and yeah, like it was lovely. And it was quite funny that every time we had an issue, you know, he appeared and we had a lovely conversation, you know. Like, I mean, when I had an issue with my boyfriend, like he appeared, but then like after the conversation with him, I was like, I want to be with my boyfriend, because this guy is just way too much for me. Maybe I am too much, you know, for my boyfriend, but you know, that guy was a different level. And I was like, he was like a mirror to me, because he was like overly sensitive and stuff. And I was thinking like, you know, like I saw myself in him, and I was thinking, you know, if I'm like just as sensitive and I see that and it's too much for me, then like I kind of like saw how my boyfriend would see me. But in my case, I was like, nah, like I don't want to be dealing with this, so like no thank you. Whereas my boyfriend like is going on. You know, and it has been 5 years, and you know, he still hasn't had enough. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Like in the deepest shit. So it's quite interesting. So we had a chat again, and it just made me feel like, I really appreciate Benny. Oh, fucking hell, like he's like probably everything that I could possibly want, I think. Like in the sense that, you know, he would give me the love and the passion and everything and the chat, but I still like can't leave Lenny for him. I have to get there myself. Maybe it will be too late, but you know, that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I was actually like considering like,
yeah,
you know, stopping the relationship with Benny and trying that with him. Like it did cross my mind, but eventually I was like, nah. I want to be with Benny. I just want him to like demonstrate his love a little bit better, and then it will be perfect. And I wanted him to stop doing things that are pissing me off. That was the only issue, but you know, I love him as a human and he's just amazing. So I never like really wanted to leave because I didn't want to be with him. I just needed like, you know, like I just needed to feel loved basically and appreciated. That was the only issue in our relationship. And with Bruno it was like just nah.
Quick one, what's the surprising one I did? Like, bit shit. I don't know. We'll see how that goes, but I don't know. I haven't got like high hopes for the whole situation. So yeah, like the next one is gonna be about to break up pretty soon. So yeah.
Okay, so this one was quite difficult to understand. I don't know if you were able to hear or something, but whatever. But it just shows how like fucked up like my mind is and the way of like communicating between the two of us, because I genuinely didn't believe him. Every time he said something like nice to me, I was like, no, you're chatting shit, right? But I think like after all those years, like I have to like believe all of those things that he is saying, because he would not be here, you know, like, or I wouldn't be here. Do you know, like there must be something like more, because why would you be putting up with like so much like shit and you would have the grumpiest person next to you if it wasn't for love or appreciation or whatever, you know, like there must be more like good things. And you know, at that time, like I was still like I was a bitch. I remember like even I was not talking, I was not smiling, I was in the shittiest mood for longest periods of time, just going like, you know, like from one negative like overthinking to another one, and I was just in this like huge like negative bubble, and I just hated everything, and I hated my life, and you know, like I hated the fact that I was working in the hotel as well, and it was like really challenging time. So I hated like everything about everybody at that time, and he still like didn't have an issue with that. It was just like when I started like attacking him that, you know, he like fought back and stuff. So like, yeah, I think I'm doing well. I think like right now I'm managing my like anger and overthinking and like, you know, like shithead brain like quite well, you know, and I can still, you know, be in the happy mode, and I hope it stays like this, because I don't ever want to get back to this like mindset of like not being happy and appreciative like ever at all. I don't want to be there, and actually I can't like relate to her. Even like those recordings when I was crying, like I just can't like appreciate her, because I know that she is just chatting shit and she just doesn't see things clearly. So I cannot like, I don't even feel sorry for her. Like I do, because it's me. So I do feel sorry for that, but I think I caused like most of the issues like myself. Like of course, like, you know, my boyfriend's head could work a little bit differently, like that would make things easier, of course, but I think with most of those things it was just like my not very like understanding brain or whatever. Oh yeah, then never mind, I think we are done. So I'm wishing you a fantastic day. Stay happy and healthy, and and like, I mean mentally healthy, because now it's good. Like yeah, it's good, so we don't want to fuck it up. So stay strong, darling. Love you. So take care. Bye.